Welcome to part 2 of questions and answers. I'm Chad and this is Winning Tennis. Oh, my lemonade cup is empty, my friends. My cup runneth empty. Alright, let's jump right in. We're doing questions and answers. This is not an instructional video. I'm answering your questions. Part 2. This is question 10. I also use windshield wiper swing follow through. By the way, you're confused. Question 10, I answered 1 to 9 in the previous video. The link is in the description below. This gentleman has a question. I made a video on the windshield wiper forehand. So I also use the windshield wiper swing follow through when I try to hit it. When I try to hit it really hard like you did in the video, I often hit the bottom of the frame. I figure my racket face is too closed relative to the swing path when I framed it. Have you ever thought about what's the best angle of racket face relative to the swing path? Cheng Wang. Thank you for your question, Cheng. I have thought about that. I'm sure that a lot of people who hit with topspin have framed balls in their tennis careers before. It doesn't happen to me that often. Maybe because I've played so much, but I know that I play with a guy who hits with a lot of topspin, and he'll frame it at least a couple times a match. That's because when the face is coming through, most people hit with topspin have a closed face, and if you don't get the right angle on the racket, if you don't hit the ball at the right time, you can hit the top frame, mostly the bottom frame. So what I would suggest is I would just practice more on the forehand, or change your grip, go a little bit more eastern forehand towards that route. So you're gonna flatten the racket and face out just a little bit. Right? Because if you constantly are framing, that's not good. We need to get the ball in the court. Okay, number 11. What's the maximum difference in speed you get from your best continental grip serve and the waiter's serve? Okay, so I made a video on how people who have a waiter's serve, that's where the racket face points up, so it looks like you're a waiter. Because instead of having a continental grip, where they come through, drop the racket, come up and pronate, this is the easiest way to serve is with the waiter's serve, because if you think about it, it's the most common logical sense way, because you're aligning the strings with the ball and the court. So this person is asking me, what is the difference in speed that you get from your continental grip serve and the waiter's serve? Well, I would say, I don't know, I haven't measured it. I haven't gone out there. That's a good question, actually. I'm going to say I do get more speed with the continental grip serve, because if the waiter's serve did get more power and more speed, then everybody would be hitting with a waiter's serve. But the reason that the continental grip serve works better with the pronation is because the waiter's serve is one-dimensional. It just goes forward. Whereas the continental grip serve allows you to pronate, so the racket is actually moving two-dimensionally. It's moving forward, but it's also moving this way into the ball. So that's why it's better. Plus, you can get more spin on the ball. You can't really get a lot of spin on a waiter's serve. Your video cheered me up. Can I also get some spin, slice, or kick with the waiter's serve? You can, and I showed you in the video, if you stand to your side and you stay to your side and you use your waiter's serve and you kind of go a little bit left to right, assuming you're righty, then yeah, you can get some spin on that. Why not? Becker had an Eastern grip serve, but perhaps not waiter's, and he managed a good racket drop. Becker had a cross between a continental and an Eastern forehand grip on his serve, and I kind of do too. It's completely manageable. It's fine. I think there have been other pros that have had that grip, you can still get a racket drop, you can still pronate. It's just when you have an extreme Eastern forehand grip or even further that you can't do that. You can't pronate and all that stuff. With the waiter serve, do you still get internal shoulder rotation and pronation? I'm not sure what you mean by internal shoulder rotation. Very technical terms. And pronation. Nah, you can't really pronate because you're coming like this. So if you turn the racket 90 degrees, then you really don't have a waiter serve anymore. Thank you so much for helping me out, Alexandra Luisa Born Franco. Okay, thank you for your question. Look, with your waiter serve, I would just work on some of the other fundamental aspects, like making sure you're reaching up, making sure you're contacting the ball out in front. If you're righty, landing on the left foot, that kind of stuff can help you keep, accelerate the speed on your waiter serve. Number 12. Thank you. Where do you teach? What about Becker? Did he have a waiter's? Okay, same kind of thing. Did he have a waiter serve, or did he master the drop and pronation with his grip? Okay, I think we covered that. I will just answer. I teach in South Florida, and Becker had a huge serve. I mean, when he came up, John McEnroe thought he had like the biggest serve he had ever seen, and it's kind of intimidating, with his hair and his German accent and that big, thing is a huge knee bend. I mean, I loved watching Becker serve back in the day. All right, number 13, great informative video as usual. Do you think a two-handed backhand volley advocated by Chris Everett is a good thing? Chris Constable. Thank you again for your question, Chris. I've used the two-handed backhand volley, and I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. What I like about it is it gives you stability. So when you have heavy hitters up there on the baseline and they're teeing off onto your backhand, the two hands definitely gives you a little bit more stability. I like that aspect of it, but that's probably all I like about it. I think you have more reach on the one-hander. You can do a lot more things with it, because you have the freedom of the wrist. Where with the two-hander, it's just kind of a little bit awkward. So I teach kids the one-handed backhand volley, and they seem to do well with it. I don't think there's a reason to ever have a two-handed backhand volley unless you just want to. But I think the people that do have a two-handed backhand volley are the people that have not practiced their one-hander enough, the one-handed backhand volley. So it's kind of like, it's like a hack, So yeah, you can get away with it, but look at the greatest volleyers in history: Federer, Laver, McEnroe, Rafter, even Misha Zverev. I consider him maybe the best volleyer in the singles game right now. They're all volleying with one hand, right? So 14. Hey brother, quick question. One thing on Fed's kick serve, meaning Roger Federer. I've always wondered about it. Besides the topspin from the wrist's radial deviation, is it an illusion that it seems like he is also getting topspin along the plane he seems to be cartwheeling along into the ball? Let me just finish this question. Then the other area, it looks like maybe he is getting topspin from his sort, that left to right motion of body in the air. So are these two adding to topspin besides the wrist, as well as besides the actual jumping vertical momentum into serve? Thanks so much, man. Great video, Joseph G. All right, Joseph G. That's quite a question there. You have a lot going on there, but basically what it is, when you think about the kick serve, which is basically the same as like topspin serve, there's really three serves to me. You have a flat serve, where you're just in the ball flat, that's your hard serve. You have a slice serve, where you have side spin, and then you have a kick serve or topspin serve, where you get under the ball and you're brushing on the ball, and the ball has topspin, it lands, and it bounces high. Okay, because people confuse that. They think like kick serve and topspin serve are somewhat different, but people call it a kick serve because when the ball has topspin and it lands, it kicks up. So one time, just a little joke, on tennis. One time I was playing with my friend. He was a very funny guy. His name's Eric. And I, back in the day when I was just learning, I hit a serve and I said, "Man, was that thing kicking?" He's like, "Man, that mother wasn't even walking." And I was like, "Ooh, not even walking." But, I don't have a huge kick serve. My kick serve is not kicking up like 7 feet and 8 feet in the air, but you don't need to have a huge kick serve to be successful in tennis. I mean, I know a guy that hits almost flat for his second serve, but it comes in fast. So definitely having topspin on your serve is key because it just gives you that net clearance, especially if you're nervous or you're concerned about the second serve. You want that net clearance. Now, to answer your question, what it really comes to is that the racket is brushing on the ball. Okay? It's creating this topspin. So there's a lot of things going on to get there, but that's basically what's happening. Is the pros, Federer, they're putting topspin on the ball. They're hitting the ball. The ball has to be somewhat over your head in order to create that topspin. If your toss is too out far to the right, you can't do it. If your toss is too out far to the left, and I think people have this misconception that you have to arch your back and come on, all the way. But actually, I looked at the pros and analyzed them, and they're throwing the ball pretty much over their head when they generate the topspin. You only need it to be over your head to have that brushing up motion. Okay, number 15. Could you do a video on the kick serve? This video is for topspin serve, Philo. Yeah, I did a video on the kick serve, but I'll do another one. I mean, I think I did maybe 2. I think I did one, and then I also analyzed one. So it's a tricky thing for people. I believe on the kick serve, the most important thing is to toss the ball over your head, to let the ball drop a little bit, because most people are hitting it. They think of it as a first serve, like they're trained to reach up. So if you reach up, if you think about it, you can't brush on the ball if you're hitting at maximum height, because your racket can't go any higher than that. So if you let the ball drop maybe 30% on the way down, catch it on the way down and brush on it, that's going to help a lot. And just keep your body to the side, as I talk about in the videos, because if you keep your body to the side, then you'll have more of that left to right motion, assuming you're righty. 16. Could you explain on how to initiate the racket drop on the two-handed backhand? I believe the racket forward movement and drop are one seamless motion and not two separate parts. None of the instructional videos I've seen on YouTube seem to explain that. Do you get the racket to drop by pulling with the bottom hand? Adipalida? Elida? It's just ice now. Thank you, Adipalida. Interesting. Yeah, so what she's talking about, she's not talking about a racket drop on a serve. She's talking about the racket drop on the two-handed backhand. And if you have a two-hander, I think one of the most crucial things that you could do to improve your two-hander is to have a racket drop. Meaning that when you hit the ball, your wrist, if you're righty, it's your right wrist that bows down, or bows. You want to have that racket head be below the hand. That way you can generate topspin, and that way you can get a little bit more pace. It just makes the whole backhand better, and it is seamless. It should be seamless. You should take the racket back. The racket head should be over the hands, and then it should drop as you blend the swing together, as you begin to swing. And you can understand that intellectually, but to go out there and practice that's challenging, to get that going, because some people are not very flexible in the wrist. One thing you can do is you could just start in what I call the slot position. Everybody calls slot position. Basically, you have your wrist bent already. Like if you see Serena and Venus, they kind of do that. They don't really come up here. They just have that. They go from that position. So you can do that. That's one hack. Or just keep practicing. I mean, look, I've made videos on it. Just go back and look at those videos. All right, we're up to the last question. This is number 17. Very well done video on kick serve. The film with your analysis clearly showed the correct form and swing path. Question on the toss. Where is the ball position in relation to court depth? Is it tossed out into the court, say 12 inches, or is it directly overhead or behind head? On my kick serve attempt, I often hit the ball with lots of spin, but not enough distance power to get over the net. Wondering if I'm coming around the side of the ball too much. Any input would be appreciated. Thanks, Pete. Thank you, Pete. This is a problem that I had one time. You know, I was just going for too much spin, and so the answer is you definitely want to throw the ball a little bit into the court. If you're just throwing it over your head, directly over your head, you're not getting your body into the shot. So if you're getting a lot of spin and not a lot of depth, then you will toss the ball a little bit further in and try to get your body a little bit further, more into the ball on the shot. If you look at the pros, when they do hit their kick serve, they're still jumping the same way onto the left foot. So they're getting their body into it. You're just not getting your body into it. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Well, that wraps up this question and answer segment. It was a long time in the making. I was waiting for your questions. And if you have any questions, please post them below and I will answer them. And I'm going to be putting out a lot more video content in 2018. So I would appreciate if you subscribe. And if you found any of the information in this video helpful, I would very much appreciate if you give me a like. And that's it. I'm just chilling here, you know, just chilling. All right, I got to be on the court in 5 hours. So see you in the next video.